Good afternoon. I don't know if I should feel the pressure of being the last speaker for today. But my name is Iroghama, as you heard, and I'm just here to speak to you about when legacy chooses you as an unexpected leader, which is really my story. So I'm going to be telling you my journey, and I hope that you get some nuggets from where I have come from and hopefully where I'm going. So I was born into a family of eight. I'm the third child, second girl. I have an older brother and a younger brother right after me, and of course, much younger siblings. So I'll set that stage. My father is a marine engineer trained by Shell. He worked on board their tankers in other companies, and then eventually he set up a family business called Starzs almost 40 years ago. So, of course, as he built his businesses, we have two major companies: the Stars Investments, a company that owns and operates ships, and then we have a ship repair yard and shipbuilding yard in Onair. And I think he just kept thinking about his boys. I'm building these enterprises, and my sons are going to come in and they're going to take charge. And so, what did he do? He was very intentional with my brothers, my older brother, and of course, my younger brother. He was interested in what they studied, which he picked, by the way, he guided, by the way. He was interested in where they went to school. He was interested in where they worked. My older brother worked in NLNG as a marine engineer for 10 years. My younger brother read naval architecture in New York and went on to work in different shipbuilding yards around the world and eventually settled in Canada. And where was Iroghama in all of this? Yes, Iro was left to her devices and her interests, which was fine with me. So I studied biology and psychology in the University of Massachusetts in Boston. And I was going to be a doctor because my mom, God bless her soul, was a medical doctor with NMPC for 30 years. So she inspired me, and I thought, maybe I could do this. But by second year, I kind of realized, you don't like needles, you don't like blood, you can't stand gory scenes. What kind of doctor are you going to be? So at that point, I shelved the dream, broke the news to my dad, and decided to pursue public health instead. So I got a master's in public health. Then fast forward a few years after school, I stumbled into entrepreneurship and my drive and my passion for it. And I began to set up businesses. And again, where was my father? Oh, Irogama is doing her thing. I have my boys, and my boys are, priming them. And today I was building my enterprise, building myself. And that's another thing. And one of the things I hope you pick from this is the power of self belief. So I've always believed in myself from when I was young. No matter how many times I stumbled, how many mistakes that I made, I would always just keep going, get up, dust myself, feel my feelings, and then I keep moving. And so I was just there, focusing on my focus. And then the year was 2013. I was invited to participate in a show called The Next Titan. It's a business show, business reality TV show. And so I was like, okay, for sports, I'll go for the audition. I went for the audition in Port Harcourt. I got in, okay, made it to top 50. Ended up in Lagos, made it to top 16, kept going, and then made it into the house, okay. 3 months, made it to top three. I was like, okay. And finally, I won the show. Woo. So 2013, I became the maiden winner of the Next Titan show. And so my dad was like, oh, yeah, I'm very proud of her. I mentored her. And he did really. He had always supported all my entrepreneurial pursuits financially, with advice. He taught me how to keep my books using Excel. So he was really a strong support. But maybe not just for legacy, but good for, get a good education, probably get a good job, and then get married, have kids, and then, live your life. So I was pursuing and building my dreams because I knew no matter what, I would still tell my story. And then in 2014, chance encounter happened. I was by this time had taken over one other failing business. It was a passion project for my dad. 1999, the rate of employment in River State was so high, and so he decided to set up a security company, a private security company called Eagle Watch. And he did it to get men off the street, young men off the street, so they'll have a source of livelihood. Not because he had an interest or it was a professional interest, but just like I said, a charity project. But by 2000 and this was 2010, obviously the business was struggling. They weren't able to pay their own salaries. And he was just tired of the business and he wanted to shut it down. And I was home for I was doing my dissertation, and I was just at home and I was listening to him say how he was going to wind down the company by Monday, and I was like, oh, the entrepreneur in me, just give me this for 6 months. And that was about what, 15 years ago. So the business still stands. Today we operate between Port Harcourt and Benin. And we have over 1,000 guards now. But anyways, back to my story. So at that time, same thing, me, self-belief, I can do anything that I put my mind to. So I took the business and I was running it. And again, my dad was thinking, yeah, another passion project, Ira's there doing what she's doing. So this chance encounter in my dad's boardroom, 2014, February, he had two visitors from the UK and they turned out to be consultants. And what was going on in his business? His business was trying to raise $18 million. They needed to buy a vessel and he had gone out to the international market, and these consultants were supposed to be helping him do that. But he had reached the snag, and what was that snag? They looked at him, you're 63 years old. We like your story, bootstrapped yourself, very, very nice story. But then you're 63, and we're looking behind you, and who's there? Who's standing there, right? Nobody. I mean, you had GMs and so on. But Helios, who were the intending investors at the time, just felt we don't really see succession. And so I walk into the boardroom. I'm a daddy's girl, full blown, unapologetic daddy's girl. And I'm probably coming in to give him some gist or gossip or collect money or something. And then these guys are sitting there and he just says, "Oh, yeah, this is my daughter." I don't want to say he introduced me dismissively, but in a very passive way, like, "Oh, that's Iro. She's mixing cream." At the time I had my own product line that I was manufacturing all the way in South Africa, dealing with foreign exchange matters. And I was mixing cream. So, anyways, he's like, that's Iro. She just, yeah, like kind of thing. And so the consultants were curious and they asked me a few questions, probably engaged for like 5 minutes. And then I left. At this time, because I had always known and I had been primed to believe that this empire, whatever this was, Starzs was, belonged to two boys in the family. I didn't even really know what Starzs did. Had no interest in the industry. I just knew that this is what was paying my school fees. This is where I was able to get money when I needed money from daddy, and I was building my thing. Once again, self-belief in building my own empire. So let's move on a few more months. This is May now. I'm having a chat with my dad as a glorified daddy's girl. And he's just talking about how he's so tired. He's hustling for this $18 million he needs to raise because he was on a clock. And now Helios were very interested, but they had asked him to come to London. And I was like, oh my God, free trip. I'm like, oh, daddy, you seem so tired. Can I come with you? I'll carry your bag. I'll be your PA. Just send me on errands. I'll just be going. Let me help you on this your trip since you're so tired. And he says, would you really do that? I mean, what is Iroghama doing? She's just mixing cream after all, right? So I said, of course, I'll go with you. Here I was planning my escape once I got to London, how I was going to go to Oxford Street and go shopping and have a good time while my father was looking for $18 million to save his business. Anyways, while on the plane, my dad gives me his term sheet. He's like, oh, so whilst you're here, this is a learning experience for you. So read this term sheet and start to learn. Learn where I'm mixing cream. We don't do term sheets in that type of business. But okay, so I took it and I began to go over it. So when we landed in London, we went for a strategy session with the consultants. And so there we were, they were talking. Another thing, self-belief. So I started to contribute. After all, why did you give me the term sheet, right? And you sent me to a good school. So I was asking them questions and I was engaging and I was contributing. And after a while, he looked at me and said, why don't you come with us tomorrow for the meeting with Helios? In my mind, I'm like, but I'm supposed to be going shopping. So I said, oh, I don't have a suit. And truly, I never owned a suit before then. And he's like, how can you not have a suit? Okay, we're going to go buy a suit. So we bought a suit. And there went my dreams of going shopping on Oxford Street while my father was at business meetings. So I got a suit, and the next day, we started heading to Helios' office. While we were on the way, he said to me, when we get there, I'd like you to be quiet. Don't speak. Don't ask any questions. Just listen and learn, observe. This is an opportunity for you. What did I say? Don't speak. Iroghama has coconut head. But I really meant not to speak, honest to God. So we got to the meeting and it was going very well. At some point, I realized that there was a very, very significant aspect of the conversation that was missing. So I thought, should I speak? Self-belief. So I wrote my dad a note. Can I ask a question? Oh, God. Literally saw all the emotions flash through his face. Like, this chap, I told you. We had a conversation about this. But as fate would have it, my father gave in to yes. And he said yes to me. Go ahead. So I raised my hand and I asked the question. And that was the end of the meeting. I basically asked the question that was so critical that neither side have thought about. They had been so much in the frame that I, who was out of the frame, had seen those blind spots, and I was able to raise that. And immediately it brought an end to the meeting, and both sides had to go away, think about it, and come back. So as we were leaving, of course, the Helios partners were so excited. Oh, this is Greg's daughter. And they're shaking my hand, they're telling my dad, we look forward to working with her in management. So we get outside. Of course, my dad is proud. He's happy. Oh, my school fees really came through for me in this meeting. And when we got outside, he said to me, I have a confession to make. He said, 3 months ago, after you left the boardroom, those consultants, they said to me, that's your successor. And I pushed back. I said, no, I didn't plan her. I didn't prepare her. She's not the one. I have my boys. I trained them. I prepared them. They're coming, and they'll be the ones that will take over. And now here we are again, another confirmation. Our parents can be a bit, religious. 2 confirmations in 4 months. There must be something there. And there I was, totally unplanned, totally unprepared, not expecting any of this. And he's saying, I'm bringing you into the board, we're going to have a meeting. And he's saying all these words. And I'm standing there saying, what does this mean? What does this entail? How does this factor into my own dreams? How do I bring in my own plans and my hopes and my aspirations into what he's saying? Ladies and gentlemen, that was 11 years ago. Today, I sit at the helm of affairs of Starzs Investments Company Limited. I started as an ED. I was promoted to CEO. When I started with Starzs, we had 3 ships. Today we have 11. When I started with Starzs, we had no operations outside Nigeria. Today we have multiple operations outside other African countries. When I started with Starzs, we hadn't birthed other companies. Today we have Starzs Gas, which is a company building the mother stations for CNG in Delta State. We're also birthing MSWA, which is a cargo logistics company that will flag the Nigerian flag and fly it around international waters. So what am I saying to you today? 3 things that stood out for me. It's not about whether I was designated, whether I was chosen, or whether I was prepared. It was about what I did. I had self-belief. I came to every point of my life with a sense of excellence. So as a personal core value. And lastly, I saw impossible as nothing. When I stepped into that role, this was a multi-billion-dollar company that was just about to receive debt of over $18 million. And I had literally very limited corporate experience. I could have run away, I could have shied away, but for me, impossible is nothing. And I knew that I had self-belief and my core value of excellence, then being the unexpected leader, I would succeed. So if you're in this room and you're waiting to be chosen, I'm saying start prepping where you are. It wasn't about being chosen, being prepped. It was about where was I at the point where I became the chosen one. Thank you very much.